Hi there, Alicia here, again, not a crybaby for a change. I'm filming the video that I mentioned in the previous video with Ali today, and I am really excited about that. I wasn't necessarily planning on filming this video, but I like the suggestion that Charlie made about talking somewhat about the move to Cardiff, because if you don't document stuff, then it sort of gets lost in memory, and believe me, by the age that I am, if I didn't somewhat put down testimonies of what I've done and what I've been through, I would have forgot so much already. So it's not gonna be much about, I mean, the move itself, it's very technical, it's very boring. But you know what, I just realized thinking about it that there are things I'm gonna miss about London, whether I like it or not, because they are unique to London. Thankfully, I am very good at being naive myself, and that's, I suppose, how I handled moving to London 10 years ago, moving to Dublin prior to that, without ever being much concerned, and this is pretty much the same, but there are things that I'm gonna miss about London. The first one I realized the other day, because there's this amazing queer bar in Camden that I feel like I discovered too late. I think it was born from the ashes of the Black Cap that was in Camden, and it's home of the Family Fears collective. It has Meth, the drag queen Meth, as the matron, I think, of the entire place, and I've seen so much talent there in the last year and a half that I know the drag scene is amazing in Cardiff as well. I know that Britain has an amazing culture about drag, so I will never quite lack that. But the talents that I've discovered here, I will miss.
I'm telling you, how can any of you be in a bookstore when you don't know Paul Sheldon? When you've never read Misery? What is wrong with you all? I don't understand what is happening! I am pushing for a
That was just a general example. That was Cherry Hall and Tace. But that's them, which I adore. There's Precious, who is a drag queen that amazed me. I saw her at Not Another Drag competition, and I was speechless, because I genuinely believed there are bio queens as well there, like Minxie Monroe, and I genuinely believe that Precious was a bio queen. It's inexplicable to me how you can have those facial features and for that to be fair for anybody else, basically, when you can turn around and be literally the best of both worlds. There's Ruby Wednesday. Ruby is the best mindfuck I've ever met. I am always enticed when I look at them, and whether they're just standing there, whether they're actually performing. They performed at a David Bowie tribute back in August, September, I want to say. There's nothing they can do that is short of amazing. I've never, I mean, they're beautiful to look at, they're amazing at performance, some people just have it all. There is a general atmosphere there that I've never seen anywhere else, and that is probably on me, because it took me a very long time to understand the concept of you can look for your tribe and your tribe can be up there. I didn't even know that this concept was there. I was just very much on my own for most of my life. Rob was the first person coming from a tribe, the alternative gothic style, telling me you are a goth, and it's very weird that you haven't embraced it. I never realized that it had a name. I just do the stuff that I like, but I found that I found my tribe almost too late in life. So most of the time that I spent at here upstairs, it was just me stupidly smiling around. I was probably like a child in Disneyland, because I was like, oh my god, these people are real and they're here and I can interact with them. Another thing, guess what? It's friends. The people that have stuck with me for the last 10 years that are based in London. Which, you know what? There's a pro and a con. The con part is that these people live in London and yet we manage not to see each other for months, with the excuse that, oh, we live in the same city, we'll make it happen. But because we live in the same city, we never actually then end up properly planning, or because, I don't know, it's very weird. It's a very weird, the concept of distance and time in London, because it's a huge city. It's an entire region, it's not a city. Like, there's nowhere else that I've seen that you travel from a point, from the far east to the far west. I don't know, it's huge. You have to consider time and commute time, and it can take an hour and a half, 2 hours to go from a side to the other. And so the fact that technically we're living in the same city, I am not sure actually helped seeing each other and being around each other. So in that sense, I will miss the fact that there is the potential of seeing each other all the time, but at the same time, I have to I genuinely like the fact that living somewhere else will give us the dedicated excuse to see each other. Like, well, now you have an excuse to come and see me so you can see Wales. Or, oh, I'm coming up to London for these 2 days. Let's make this happen in those 2 days, because it's not like we have the potential of all the time, so we don't just make it happen because we can't pick down a date. Those are the 2 days. Let's make this happen in those 2 days. So there is a lack of potential, but I want to believe that technically it's gonna make it easier to see each other. I want to believe that people will come and visit me as well, because I'm gonna have a bigger place in Wales, so I can have proper guests and guest room and stuff. Very technical and practical. One of the things that I'm gonna miss the most about London, just for easiness of life, is public transport. I clearly had no idea how lucky I was being here in London. I can go anywhere with the tube or a bus. It will get me there, it will get me back. It's always running, and the most I'm gonna wait, if something goes wrong or if it's deep night, it's 10 minutes. The place we found in Cardiff, which is lovely, in a lovely position, buses are so much fewer, and they come around at very, very long different times. The bus that it's the closest to the place, there's one every half an hour, if you're lucky. So that is, because I don't drive yet at this point, that worries me a bit. Like the fact that, again, it's still about potential technically, but also about practicality. Example, I can walk to Camden from where I live now, and that's fine, and it's just literally a straight line. It's gonna take me 25 minutes, something like that, but I can walk straight to Camden. Will I take the tube or will I take the bus? Possibly, but that is an option. The thing about Cardiff is, can I walk from where I will be living to the city centre? Yes, it's gonna probably take, guess what, 25 minutes, half an hour, which is the same then to walk into Camden. But that is an entire, like, what is Islington to Camden here? It's the equivalent of half of Cardiff. So in that sense, it's much more easy to walk and cover, but at the same time, it's not about having, well, I can walk, or I can take the bus, or I can catch a tube. Well, no, in Cardiff you have to be devoted about walking, because otherwise, if you don't drive, it can get complicated. Like, one of the things that I'm most worried about, one of the things that I do here in London is, I don't know, going to places like IKEA if I need to, or wholesale groceries for the food channel. and I can get there with public transport and I can get back, and that's fine. Retail parks are the thing instead in Cardiff, and you don't get there with public transport, and you don't get there easily, and you don't. I'm concerned. Public transport in London is good. So I feel like this goes from the most emotional, from the most practical thing. Like there's the emotional to practical spectrum, and we started emotional and then we went down practical. But yeah, those are my three things: her upstairs and the drag scene that I've come to know and sort of lurk from the margins. So I wish somehow that I had been given more time so that I could, I don't know, possibly eventually join it rather than just observe it. That is something that yeah, I will miss. I will miss the specific talent. Like again, after the her upstairs did a pantomime in December 2017, so I will miss seeing like people like Cheryl Hall and Matt and Ruby. Not because, like, I don't think they even know who I am. Like, I'm always there with these starry eyes like this. But I will miss seeing them in 3D, if it makes sense. I will miss having the potential of seeing my friends. However, going again in the middle of the practical, do we see that much of each other now? We don't. And that's a shame. And I want to believe that having the very specific, dedicated excuse of, well, then come to Cardiff and see me and stay in mine, or hey, I'm coming to London, let's see each other. Hopefully that will help us on the practical way of seeing each other. Well, more than we do now, because now we don't, basically. And then, yeah, the practicality of getting around, because London really spoiled me in that sense. And I liked it, like the most that I've learned about London in the first few years was just jumping on a random bus and seeing where we're going and how we're getting there. And I mean, probably I will try to do that for Cardiff as well. But anyway, I don't know if it counts for a move video or if it counts for a nostalgia of London video. But yeah, I think a part of me is trying to stay excited yet detached, because I'm not even sure I would be sad or worried, but I don't want to have the chance to be. So I think I am trying to think of all the little details and practicalities, not to think about the bigger picture of living in London. Because let's be honest, practically it won't make that much of a difference. Because what I do most is doing and filming stuff at home, and it's very dependent on the house that I live in. So that's not gonna be a huge change. I'm actually gonna have a prettier place, a bigger place to stay in. But London has been my home, and the only place that I called home in my adult life, and the place where I've lived the longest in my adult life, if not most of my adult life anyway. I think the ideal concept of the end of an era is what could get to me, which I know is irrelevant, mostly because that era is already gone. Leaving the place geographically doesn't change much more than has already changed. But again, I suppose it's both the potential and the memory, and considering the potential of the memory. If it happened once here, it could happen again, or if I wanted to, it could happen again. So that's the kind of stuff. But I am honestly, I'm thankfully, given the choice, I can focus much better on the excitement of the new stuff that I can find and discover doing Cardiff, rather than, oh, the stuff that potentially I won't be able to do anymore because I'm not in London. But let's be honest, how long have I not been doing that in London anyway? So that's gonna be alright.